rev it up. Yeah, I don't think that's high enough. Okay, I just learned a very, very interesting lesson. Actual value and set point value. You want to run both of these when you're in input off of DME1, so you can see the high pressure reading on your high pressure fuel pumps. You see this area right here? Let's see if we can clear it. Well, first off, let me explain what's going on here. Do you see how these numbers almost match, or at least are very close? That's measured in megapascals. That's a huge value, like 3 megapascals is, oh God, a couple hundred PSI at least. Now, so what was going on was, this number was actually reading at like 1.2, whereas this one's supposed to be 3. Now watch when you accelerate. I'm accelerating now. It's supposed to go up into the 7 to 8 range, right? They're matching pretty much, okay? So, they weren't. And I'll take it off of display now. Click that, display removes that, and then I'm gonna go in here and show you what was happening. Read fault memory. Read fault memory. There we go, read fault memory. Okay, so it's giving me this, rail pressure control bank 1. You click on it, you click on it, here we go. And it says, control deviation too high. Actually, normally it was saying that basically the pressure was too low. That's what it was saying earlier. Let's see if it's still present. Because it said fault is not currently present. I'm gonna erase it. We go to bank 2, maybe bank 2 will still show us the old error, which was fault, the pressure was too low, which was totally true. There we go. Yeah, 29, 24. Click on it. Rail pressure too low. That's what I was seeing on both, actually. Clear it. Now, every time I would clear it, of course, it would just pop right back up because the rail pressure was too low. Click back over here to number 1, read the fault memory and see how we do. Please, 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 please. Ah, yes, no fault memory. In fact, let's turn the engine off. Turn it back on, kaboom. Oopsie. Using brains, foot on brake. This is where it would just pop up immediately. Let's read the fault memory again. No fault memory. 2. Read fault memory. No, please tell me there's no fault memory. No fault memory, yay! Okay, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I did a high pressure fuel pump job on this very nice 60,000 mile 760 that I bought, and I screwed on, the 3 screws that go on top of this guy, of the triangular shaped cover. Now, normally, when I'm using my inch-pound torque wrench, which is very precise, I was telling people to use like 68 inch-pounds. Well, I've decided to use like 70 now, and here's why. Using this stethoscope, which has like a tube, so I can listen to stuff. Like if you blow into it, it'll blow your ears out. I was putting it on top of my other 760, which is out there, and the pressure was perfect. And you can hear just a little light, like a little light ticking. Let me get close. Let me see if you can. I'll get next to this guy, see if you can hear it. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it should sound like a little teeny sewing machine. You should kind of go tick 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 tick. And I was using a lower torque value, like around 65 inch-pounds. And one of them didn't tick and one of them did. So I said, oh, this one must be wrong. And so I completely untorqued the entire thing, put it back on at like 65. Now it was not making any noise, and I went, haha, I've made it better. That turned out to be wrong. Then my error started to show up. And I'm like, could it really be? And so I pulled that car out, which I haven't driven in a couple months, and I turned it on and hooked up input to it, and and number 1, the pressure readings were perfect. Number 2, when I put my stethoscope on there, you could put up each one and go just a little bit. You could just barely hear them, right? This really super high pitched tick. And I went, oh, this one doesn't tick, but that one does. I wonder what's going on there. So all I did was walk up to it with this torque wrench set to 70 inch-pounds, and I undid each bolt, like a good 3/4 of a twist, and then put it back on at 70. The next one, undo it, put it back on at 70. Next one, back on, put it back on at 70. Did it to the other side. Went in, started the car. The pressure was better, but it wasn't perfect. And then I got my stethoscope out. This side sounded like a tick. This side still didn't. So I literally walked up and just went with the torque wrench, listened to it again, and suddenly I could hear a slight tick. I went inside the car and the pressure was perfect. You're welcome. Another thing we're going to talk about briefly, this is the little bolt, you know, that you pull off the tops of those high pressure fuel pumps. It's this weird 5-point penta thing. I don't like these because they're soft and because this stupid, you'd have to have a special tool just to remove this. I will admit, I bought a bolt that was maybe 1/4 of an inch shorter. It gets plenty of actual thread engagement, but who knows, maybe it has a harder time holding the torque and you have to torque it slightly harder. On that car, when I did the job, I actually got some long metric bolts and cut them down to this length so they're exactly the right length. Now that could be what's going on here, and that might be a lesson to me. I mean, if these go out of spec pretty quickly, I might need to put in longer bolts. Even it doesn't seem like it could be possible. I mean, all of this thread almost is being engaged, but it, you know, if you chop it off to like this much less, that's how much shorter the other bolts are. Maybe that has something to do with it. You know, they can't hold the torque quite as well, and you have to torque them a little harder.